So what authority does our government have to intervene in Venezuela? Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano joins me now. We do have precedents for this, Judge. We have, during the Reagan administration, he wanted an end to the Cold War, so he gave money, he gave assistance to groups like Solidarity in Poland. There were similar groups in Czechoslovakia and other members of East Europe that had been oppressed by the Soviet Union. Is that okay legally for this administration to do?
Well, I mean, much of what the CIA does when it funnels cash to resistance groups is below the radar screen. One does not always apply a moral compass to it.
But Congress wouldn't object to that if CIA was doing it,
I don't know if Congress would object, but I do know that Congress has no say because the CIA works for the president. Barack Obama used CIA to fight wars and thereby avoided the War Powers Resolution, which requires congressional approval for the use of the military. So could the president tell Mike Pompeo, get 1,000 agents down there on the ground and give them a lot of cash in their pockets and let them spread it around to the right people? Yes. Has that been done? If it's been done, they obviously don't want to tell us.
But what we're looking at now is video of how out of control the situation is getting. And you have dozens, hundreds dying there as a result of what some people are now calling a civil war. If it turns into a civil war, it would be more than just aiding an opposition. It would be arming an opposition, and that, as we saw in Nicaragua, has congressional implications.
Well,
right?
In Nicaragua, and you and I have talked about this many times for a variety of reasons, there was an express statute which Reagan himself had signed prohibiting the type of aid to the Contras, which we now know was surreptitiously and thankfully given to them, thankfully from a moral point of view. It technically was unlawful. Our colleague Ollie North was deeply involved in that, and that had a happy ending for him. But were the President of the United States to send troops to Venezuela under the War Powers Resolution, he can do that. It would be very, very difficult, I think, for him to justify the use of those troops from a defensive point of view. That is, the failure to produce those troops is going to result in violence on the American mainland. I don't know how he could make that argument.
Speaking of violence on the American mainland, I want to switch to Charlottesville because it really does, as much of an advocate of the First Amendment as I am,